You're the first one of the new year.
Yeah, buddy.
Welcome to the show. How you been?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Good. We've been talking about doing this for how many months now, do you think?
God, I think since like November of 2022. It's been a long time.
Yeah. We finally made it happen. So welcome to the show, episode 53. We have the one and only Dion Holmes. So I'll kind of tell you a story as we get rolling, how we met. Me. And Dion is a stud of a guy. He runs a company, Elegant Greens, out of like, what town? I know it's Detroit, but what town exactly?
So my company is located in Brownstown, Michigan. It's about 30 minutes from Detroit. We're in Wayne County.
Nice. Wayne County is a rich county, isn't it?
There's parts of it that's not rich, but there is very wealthy people here, yes.
Yeah, when I see like how dense your population is, your neighborhoods, I get all excited. Like you have a sweet location.
We have Detroit Lions down here, which we have service. You know, they're some of the players. Stuff like that. So yeah, we have one of the wealthier counties, yes, down here by me.
For sure. It's pretty cool because like we're in a small town too, like Green Bay, Appleton. Like it's not huge, 300,000 people, between the counties, but like how often you get to meet NFL football players? Like not very often. And like my guys and girls, technicians, sales guys, they get to go knock on their doors or, talk to these pro athletes or coaches. It's really cool. It's just one extra little benefit that we can give our guys, like getting pictures with them. It's just pretty cool.
Yeah, it's an interesting experience. I mean, I personally have never actually met them, but my guys have. And it's usually their girlfriend or wife that's actually the one that's talking to them, telling them everything that needs to be done.
Yeah. So real quick, why don't we just tell everyone like how we met? Like this is probably like 5-6 years ago, I think, right?
Yeah,
Has it been that long already?
Probably about 5 years ago, yeah.
I still remember the first time we actually talked on the phone. You believe that?
That was quite a long time ago. I was
spraying a backyard in Appleton, and I remember you were telling me about all your YouTube videos you did like 4 or 5, 6 years ago. I'm like, dang, this guy's already on YouTube. How awesome is that? I remember our first phone call still. That's how much you mean to me, brother.
So I was trying to be the YouTube expert of my area, and I was constantly posting videos. They weren't as good and valuable as they were or should be because I didn't have a videographer or anything of the sort, but I was just winging it every day. So I'd go out in the field and I would try to make as many videos as I could every single day. That has since slowed way down, but I was trying at the time.
Yeah, for sure. You've done a great job. And just so everyone knows, like you run and operate a really decent sized company, bigger company than most do, and you also have a full-time job. Like, yes, I do. How is that possible? Like, and it's really cool because I have other friends that have done that too. Like, how do you build a business when you're not even there all the time? You don't go to the yard. Like, you have to build a good management. Like, that's hard in itself.
Yeah. So, truth of the matter is, I've actually never fertilized a lawn in my entire life. And our company is mostly fertilization and weed control. I started out when I was 18 years old mowing lawns, and then it kind of got bigger. In college when I hired my best friend. Then when I graduated college, I got a job right away. But I actually only mowed an entire season for one whole season. But I was just lucky from the beginning to hire the right people. Like my best friend, he didn't get a job right away. And so he graduated right around the same time as I did. And then he kind of took the reins, and I got lucky with that. And then he got a job, and then we just kind of, we were moving people up. And so, yeah, I mean, I just lucky to have a great team. I mean, I knew from the beginning that I personally actually don't like cutting grass, and I don't know anything about fertilizing a lawn, really, truly, honestly. I just was able to hire the right people at the right times, and they were able to make all the right decisions for me. Honestly, I was able to pay them well and have good pricing.
Yeah, because like you're not really taking a salary, your first year. Like you had a full-time salary, and just so everyone knows, he is a teacher, so he has summers off, what is a benefit to you as well.
Yeah, yep, absolutely. Yep.
So you have the summers off, so you can go check in, you can go run a route like that summer, when you first started. So that definitely add a benefit.
Yeah, I had probably 3-4 years of I just pushed it real hard, and we really didn't make any money, but it was okay because, yeah, like you said, I had a full-time job, and I was able to focus every single dollar back into the company, and so that I was going to push it as far as it could possibly go, and I still do that to this day. I do take a salary, a nice size salary actually at this point,
Yeah.
but I still heavily market in my area. I still push every dollar I can back into the company. I make sure everybody's taken care of well. But yeah, it's very important to me. The sky's the limit. I don't ever want to stop. I feel like my market, there is no real stopping me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't necessarily even need more locations because my market is so large that I can push it to the limit here. I mean, I really can. I haven't even scratched the surface.
Yeah. Do you know the population of Wayne County itself?
Yeah, I think it's over 1 million. So
Unreal.
yeah, it's pretty large. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
actually everything is within 30 minutes of me.
That's what I was just going to ask. Like, how far do you travel now?
Yeah, so my mowing is really, really local. We only service a small, tiny area for mowing. I think it's like 3 zip codes at this exact moment, which they have to sign up for fertilization and weed control to get the mowing. And the only reason we continued mowing was because we had the equipment and we had the people. But yeah, we will go up to 45 minutes from Brownstown, but we still stay within Wayne County to our fertilization and weed control market.
Yeah, and what's really cool is that you also won't take over a certain square footage, correct? Like you won't do big lawns. You don't, like
Correct.
like your target demographic of customer, right?
Yeah, that's correct. So we don't do properties over 20,000 square feet because we don't want to get stand-on riding machines. They're costly, and it's just another. So now you got to get a trailer or you got to get a hitch for your truck. I mean, all these extra expenses. We just do a push behind, walk behind spreader, and we got the tanks in the back of the truck. And we're focused on small properties and we're focused on route density. So we're gonna push it real hard. If we get a property, we're gonna send the 9 rounds. We're gonna do it 3 times to every property around it, and for 3 weeks straight. And we're gonna pound you hard on everything. We're gonna try. I try to have my team out there knocking doors, actually seeing if we could sign them up as clients. I mean, we're going real hard. We put lawn signs in the yard every single time that we service the property. We are on Google Local Services. We do Google ads. We do Facebook ads. I mean, you name it, we're doing it. We want to win the market. We want to be the biggest fertilization and weed control service in all of Wayne County, Michigan.
Yeah, I remember you were telling me a story, not this summer even. You're like, yeah, I was bringing my daughter to a soccer game or whatever it was. Whatever, I can't remember what she was doing exactly, but like I passed like 6 of my trucks just on my way there. Like, how cool is that? Like, you're just dominating that market.
Yeah, yeah. My next door neighbor often tells me that we fertilize or mow the entire city that we live in, and I was like, yeah. I mean, we try. That's for sure. I mean, I try to make so that everybody has a very good living here too, so that way they don't even question about starting their own company. We do percentage-based pay, so a certain percent of every lawn they're getting, and that includes mowing and fertilizing. And then our office ladies, they also get some of the kickback as well for signing people up.
Yeah. Kind of going back to the beginning, well, I'll tell a story. I kind of jumped in there, just say how we met, and then we'll just kind of tell you, then we'll explain your story, how you got in the industry, why you got in, things like that.
Yeah, so it's really hard for me to remember how we met. I think I reached out to, from what I remember, I reached out to Jonathan Potoshnik, and I had said that I wanted to be a part of the Service Autopilot Academy, and then they had told me after looking at all of my stuff that maybe I wasn't the best fit, and but they had put me in touch with you, and then from there we just connected and we never stopped talking. I mean, you were always there for me, man. Like, I'd always be texting you. I don't have any friends doing what I'm doing, and so I really wanted that connection with somebody, and they did provide that with you, man. I mean, you never left me hanging. That was my thing, man. I was always so proud to have you as a friend. Always doing bigger things than me, currently still are, and like just to have that connection with somebody is unbelievable. I mean, I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I appreciate you too. It's been a good friendship.
Yeah. So Jonathan Potoshnik, even though me and him have only had one conversation thanks to you recently, which was a goal and a lifetime goal of mine is actually to have a conversation with that man because he's a legend and you were able to provide that to me. So thank you very much.
Of course. Yeah, what Dion told me, he's like, dude, I just want to meet the guy one time. I just want to talk to him one time. I'm like, well, you know what? If I FaceTime you on between Wednesday and Sunday, I think it was, make sure to answer your phone. And sure enough, I talked to Jonathan. It was like a Saturday or Sunday. He's like, dude, that'd be awesome. FaceTime Dion. Dion answers the phone. Like Dion's losing service driving down the road. Couldn't have happened at like a worse time. But they talked for like 10, 15 minutes. Then I think Jonathan ended up giving you his phone number so you guys could connect some more. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah. Which I haven't actually reached out because like I don't want to annoy him. But he's about to get back into the stuff. So
sure is.
Maybe I will. Maybe I'll reach out to him at that point.
Yeah, he's a great guy. I think he's talked about on just about every podcast. So it was fun having him here. We had him for 3.5 hours. His got released last Tuesday. Had some really good response. But yeah, what happened is Rhonda reached out to me, and she's like, "Hey, I got this guy. He's in a similar market towards you." And the real reason why I think they told you no was because you were bigger than most companies that were in the academy at the time. Like when they were just starting out, they wanted companies like 200,000, 300,000, and you were already double that at the time. So they're kind of like, well, he already knows what he's doing. They checked you out. You already had like your Google SA set up, which you're really good at, which I've written down here. So we can talk about that. But I think you're just again, YouTube and just what you had going on. I think the way they looked at it was like, like a lot of our trainings from the very beginning are probably not quite suited for this guy. That you're a little more advanced at the time. And I also think that there's another member in your current market. If I remember correctly. So like, hey, Jonas, like, we just have this going on. Would you reach out to Dion? And so I talked to you, like, I was spraying the yard in the back and talked about YouTube, just talked about, and then the next thing we talked, at least, if not every day, it's like every 3-4 days or every week. We still do to this day. So it's been a good friendship, and I've learned a lot from you. You've learned a lot from me, I think. So it's been good for sure.
I think I learned more from you, man. No thoughts.
But that's not true.
Spark my motivation. You know what I mean? Like,
and I think you're like a 9 quick start too. So like,
God, yes, I am. I've done every business there is, man. Christmas, landscaping, snow removal, residential snow removal. I mean, you name it, I've done it. I've tried it. Spring, fall cleanup, hardscaping. One time we even tried junk removal. And I'm just like one of those people that I'll try anything. And that's actually, I would say, a bad thing. Looking back on my past.
Yeah, but like, look how focused you got in the last 2 years. I'd say the first 4 or 5 years I met, you were all over the place too. Like trying everything, just trying to like fill the route, make sure the guys are making money. But then something like snapped. You got super focused. And all of a sudden you started getting rid of services. You got dialed in to exactly what you wanted to do. Now, like, you used to be so stressed. And I told you this on the phone a couple months ago. Like, man, every time I talked to you, it was like you were putting out fires. You were super stressed. And they're like, dude, this is awesome. Like a totally different mindset than where you were 2 years ago. So it's been a fun journey to watch.
Yeah, I feel like in 2023, so this year is a real big. We've experienced big growth. I mean, we doubled in size just this year. So, and it's funny because I still have everybody that works for me from the beginning, except for my office manager, but she had some health issues. But we since replaced her, and we've only hired 2 extra people, and we doubled in size. Can you imagine that? It's just because, I got some motivated people that work on my team, and they really just know what to do. They want to get it done. They want to make more money.
So, do you think they're motivated by the money or pay for performance, or do you think it's more culture where they just like, they're just a good group of guys that are tight, had good leadership, things like that? What do you think it is? Or a little bit of both?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think culture is big. You know what I mean? So in my company,
and you're a savage.
Yeah. So yeah, they know that the sky's the limit here. I'm never stopping. I mean, the day I die is when I'm maybe gonna stop. I mean, and that's if somebody don't take it over. My kids at that point, I don't know. Um, but yeah, no. So company culture is really good at my company. If, so we provide all snacks for them. They go into the garage and they have a variety of snacks for themselves. They can open 2 refrigerators full of drinks. We got Gatorade, we got Monsters, we got water, we got pop, all sorts of pop. We'll even ask you what kind. I mean, I don't personally, but my managers will ask you, what kind of pop do you like? What's your favorite drink? We're going to stock that fridge full of everything you want. And every Monday we're providing them donuts during the meetings that they have. Every birthday we celebrate everybody's birthday. Every single person gets $15. So if it's say my birthday, Dion's birthday, I think
Happy birthday. I'll sing you a song.
But let's just say it's my birthday, but we don't celebrate my birthday. But everybody gets $15 throughout the whole company to spend on lunch. And then we also give out bonuses, $100 bonus every single, so we look at who's producing the most income for the company each week, and you get $100 bonus if you produce the most income. And we separate it by divisions because fertilization we control, they can produce a lot more income than mowing. So, we got 2 different, columns. So if you're, doing mowing, you can get a $100 gift card. If you're fertilization we control, you can get a $100 gift card. But it's typically the same people every week, but it's still fun to watch, and get people motivated to get that $100. I mean, $100 is $100,
Yeah, I think you told me that you have this one guy who's no one's ever going to beat him, ever.
No, we call him the unicorn.
You almost need to find another unicorn in another company, have them go head to head.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so he literally he's gonna make right around probably $80,000 in between March and we're almost at the end of the season, so mid-November. So I mean, he's gonna produce.
I love that. We were doing the math this 2 weeks ago. And we're like, how do we get our technicians make 80,000 plus? And the math makes it look easy. Is it easy? Yeah. No, but it's definitely capable of doing. You know what I mean? They just got to put in the effort.
He's working from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday. I mean, he's really putting in the work. He's got, I don't want to talk on based on, but he's got.
Yeah. Got kids and family. Yeah. He's got a lot going on for sure. Yeah. But that's what he's out there to do. Like, he's out there to provide for his family, And I think most of us who have our first kid like that, most of us, not all, but like something clicks in our head like, oh man, like I'm a parent now. Now I got to take care of myself. Not only myself, but I got to take care of my new baby. Like, that's a lot of pressure. Then you have 3, 4, 5, 6 kids, and man, now the pressure's really on.
Yeah, this particular individual has 7 kids.
Oh, there you go. So he's pretty motivated.
Oh, he's motivated.
And busy at night, apparently.
Yeah. So, but he's the unicorn. That's for sure. I mean,
that's cool. So, Dion, how did you get in the industry? How did you start mowing lawns at, what was 15, 16, you said? Like, where did that come from?
Man, just, I guess, internal motivation. I knew that, so I had several jobs. Before I was 18 years old, I actually had, I think we counted the other day with me and my buddies, like 24 jobs. It's because I'm a quick start. And I was a good employee, and I still am to this day. But like, I was just money motivated, right? So I was jumping from job to job to get the bigger paycheck. But finally it clicked in my head that, doing my own business was where it was at. But yeah, so when I was 15, me and 2 of my buddies, we just kind of started cutting lawns right around the neighborhood. And, it kind of failed. It fizzled out that first year, I want to say, because we weren't able to get paid. Like, there was 3 of us splitting the check for like 10 people, or we were cutting the lawns for, maybe not even. And so we weren't making a whole lot of money. And then when I was 18 years old, I worked for, maybe I was 19. I think I was 19. I worked for a landscaping company, and I had realized, I was doing a lot for this landscaping company, and I had realized the dollar margins that they were making on me. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to go back into this. And so the following year, I only had a Pontiac Grand Am.
Dude, those were nice back in the day.
Yeah. And I had put a trailer hitch on a car, And
That's awesome.
and I got a push mower. It was my dad's push mower. And well, anyways, I passed out 10,000 flyers by myself. My mom and sister helped here and there, and yeah, I was knocking doors. And I think that first season with a push mower, I had like, I don't know, so let's say 70 clients. It was a good amount of people that first year, and I was 19 years old with a push mower and a car. I convinced people to sign up.
That's awesome.
And then, yeah, within a year, my buddy, best friend, he had noticed, it was getting bigger, and he had worked for True Green. And I was like, hey, man, I'll pay you more than True Green. You come work for me cutting grass, and we'll do this together. And actually, at the time, I didn't even have a truck, and I convinced him to let me use his truck to cut lawns with my push mower and my little trailer. And so
You're a good recruiter.
Yes, so the second season, I used someone else's truck, and I paid him well, and and then we cut grass again that season. Then it just kind of substantially grew, from there. But I mean, actually that was my second season, and I never finished the whole season of cutting grass because I was focused on getting more clients and recruiting at that point at my second season.
So, and I always ask this question because I just like to get a background. It's kind of a two-part question. What did your parents do for a living? And the second part of the question is, if you and I are sophomores, juniors in high school, who is Dion in high school?
Yeah, so my dad was a security guard for a hospital, and he was also a janitor at my middle school. So he had two jobs growing up. He was actually hardly ever home, and he was the, biggest producer of income. And then my mom pretty much stayed at home. She had odds and ends jobs. But yeah, my dad was the sole provider for the most part growing up.
So when you started your business, were they have your back? Did you say it's a bad idea? Like, what was their mindset at that time?
Yeah, so I don't want to throw them under the bus, but no, they thought it was a bad idea. Yeah, they're like, there's no way.
Most do though. Like if you come, not all, but if you're growing up in a family that's went through the education program, or like they say, go get a job, go to school, go to college, get a job, go to be a teacher. Like that's the path, right? It's just what we're taught to do.
Yeah, and so when I was going to college, that's part of the reason I graduated college was just because I wanted to, make them happy. I mean, honestly. So I that's why I finished college, to make them happy. And looking back though, I probably could have even made my company bigger had I been even more focused from day one. Because we're talking, I'm 18 years into this now.
Sometimes we get in the way as entrepreneurs. So part of me tells me like that's part of the reason that you had growth is because you got out of the way too.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, plus I knew I wanted to provide for the people that worked for me, right? Because if they didn't make good income, well, then I knew that they weren't going to stick around, right? They weren't going to make this a career. So that was really important to me, And so if I was, I don't know, that was part of the reason I got out too, because I was sucking the income in, and I knew that income needed to go back into the company. And so, I was able to, for at least 3 years, put all the money back into the company. And that helped out a lot. So in high school, I played football, and I was in track as well. And then I also worked out. I was, in the off season in the winter and in the summer. So weight training. So I was motivated.
Yeah, were you motivated, super competitive in high school?
Yeah, man, I'm a competitive guy. It's just who I am. Born, raised, that's just who I am. For example, I'm also my daughter's soccer coach, and and I let someone else be the coach for one season. I say, and then I found myself kind of like, man, struggling with that. So I became her soccer coach, and we have since, we're currently in it actually right now, and we're going to the championship tomorrow or Thursday. And because, I'm motivated to win in every way. It's just who I am. It's how I'm built. I want to win.
Yeah. So today is Wednesday, right? So tomorrow is Thursday. So you weren't wrong. It's tomorrow.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Thursday.
Pretty exciting stuff. You mentioned P for P earlier. When did you guys switch to performance-based pay? Was that recently? A couple years ago? I know you're trying it for a while.
Yeah, so I actually started that from day one, believe it or not, but it would
Nice.
change over time. So like
Yeah, it just
when we were
evolves.
mowing grass, I believe it or not, I convinced my buddy who worked at True Green to make $5 per lawn that we are cutting and use his truck that second season. And he was the one doing most of the work. I mean, I had hired somebody at that point, and I think we were paying him $3.50 a lawn, something like that. And I was lucky in the fact that he valued our friendship, and he was also money motivated, so he wanted to get as much money as he could, and he was willing to work the long hours to do it. And he knew that I really wanted to grow the company. So
Yeah, and I think what happens when people switch to pay for performance or commission-based pay like that, I think what happens is that they test it out, right, for like a week or 2 or 3 weeks or a month, whatever, and they're like, "Oh, this sucks." Everyone's complaining. And they don't stick to it. So what we did, and I'm saying not that we did it was perfect by any means, because it wasn't. So I'm just explaining like what worked for us. We just told them straight up, like, we're gonna test this thing for a month. We'll show you how much you're gonna make per hour versus pay for performance. But you guys have to try, right? Let's just see how it goes. We kind of messed up because the very first week we didn't really pay attention to the dates. But this was last year before, and like a Thursday, someone was a holiday that week. And so they got their paycheck for pay for performance, and they were missing a day. So right out of the gate, right? They're like, "Oh, we're making less," not thinking about the holiday. So then they explain that. So I guess I'm saying that to like, hey, like, if you guys are going to start this, make sure it's in a full week, right? But then as the time went on, week 3, week 4, at the end of the month, like, we're showing them daily, like, where they would be hourly versus where they were paid for performance. And then we're showing them weekly. Then we're showing who our top producers are, and we're comparing those two. And at the end of the month, they're looking at theirs to like the top producer, where they could get. And they're like, "Man, there's something to this." Now, I personally would never go back, ever, and neither would they. Not a chance.
So we always tell people when they start that, the minimum you're going to make is $18 an hour, right? But I don't even think anybody's ever even had to worry about that. I can't remember a single time where somebody made $18 an hour. We don't even have, we have a clock in, clock out system, but honestly, no one uses it. So, it's just sits there and collects the dust, because, I mean, we use it as a sales technique. On Indeed, we'll put $18 to $30 an hour pending experience. And then during the interview, we let them talk about themselves, and then we kind of let them bring up pay, actually. And then I don't do the interviews anymore, but then they talk about, the percentage-based pay, and they talk about the numbers that people are making there, and, they want instantaneously, they're bought in and into the system because they want to make more than $18 an hour, and that's kind of what brought them in the door.
Yeah, and it kind of weeds out the people who don't want to work hard, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
and so even for us, like, because we have our sales guys out there selling, right? So like, it holds our sales guys accountable too, because if they sell a job that's not going to make very much money, and the technicians go there to service this thing, like, then it's pissed off technicians. So it holds each other accountable at the same time. So it's a win-win for everyone.
Yeah. I mean, we'll also tell like the fertilization and weed control people, like, they have a minimum of $1,000 a week that they're going to make. But like, same thing is, and that's during the interview, and we don't struggle with that. They're going to hit that number easily. Our pricing is right. And for a long time, that was a struggle, figuring out the right pricing, right? Because I was trying to compete with, somebody that I think wasn't even making money, honestly, because they went out of business. So for a long time, I was
just going to tell this story.
For a long time, I was competing with one of my really good friends, actually, and he went out of business. He had low pricing, and he had told me that the Walmart technique was working for him. I mean, he was doing really well.
I remember this story when you told it 2 years ago. Yeah. And like, you can't go off their price sheet, man. Like, you don't know anything about their overhead. You don't know if they're making money. You don't know anything about that company. And then 2 years goes by. After we had this conversation, true story. All of a sudden you're like, dude, my friend just went out of business. I'm like, dude, I told you.
Yeah. And then, we don't talk as really anymore. He works at another lawn care business, believe it or not. But yeah, we really don't speak anymore. And I actually wanted to buy him out.
Remember? And he wouldn't talk to you, right?
No, he just completely ignored me. It's probably, I understand things happen, right? It's tough. So yeah, so I still am, but I was almost double his price per property. And, I had told him that, and he was like, oh, I'm making it work with, my pricing. And it's like, oh, okay, well, good for you. He really had a big share of the market. But, our phone was ringing off the hook as soon as he went out of business.
Because, you have more money, right? Like, you're more profitable. You can pay your guys better. You can have better equipment. And he's running guys ragged, not paying his guys, like, not making any money off the customer, no matter how tight his route density is anyway. He's still not making money. So definitely don't copy other people's pricing. It just doesn't work. And then going back to like just knowing your pricing and make sure you bring in a consultant to show you, hey, this is how much you need to make just to break even. And people just don't know those numbers. Like going back, and I've heard this over and over and over again on the podcast. Like, man, if I could go back, the first thing I do is know my numbers over and over and over again.
Yeah. And that's, even I think back in the day when I was pushing all that money back into marketing, which I still do, I think I could have made money back then too if I really would have known my numbers better. Because I was kind of trying that Walmart technique, and it worked. Like, we got our name out there, big time, and so that we kind of just been still putting a lot of money into marketing, but we grew the company, so I guess that I was able to take a salary. But I think I could have made it profitable back then. Looking back at that,
yeah. How often do you raise prices?
It could be right away. So our technicians kind of will tell us like, all right, that property, it's not, it's bigger. They added on this, they did that. And so we will do it instantaneously, honestly. I know it sounds crazy. People think that's absolutely bonkers, but we will do it
smartest thing ever. Yep.
Yeah, like, so if our technician's saying like, okay, this property is, because they know our pricing, right? Because they are trying to sell to the next door neighbor if they're at the property. And so they're going to say to the office, this property's priced at this, but it actually needs to be this, okay? And so then my office will say our next application or our next mow will be what we promised you. But then after that, moving forward, it's going to be this. But at this point in time, we've already sold them as a client. We've convinced them, they've gotten our material. They've seen our Google rating. They've seen some of our work already. And it's actually easy sell to continue them.
Because most people are like in the office, they're measuring up the property via satellite, right? And that's not always perfect. There could be updates that landscaping put in, like more lawn put in. So when we go there and maybe we underbid the job and the technician's got to be thrown off and we're like, hey, this doesn't add up. But people are so afraid to raise prices. They'd rather go service that job because they committed to it and lose money on every single lawn or pest control job. Like, it's like, no, that's not how this works, man. We're not out here to break even. We're out here to make money. So whether you lose that customer or not, just apologize, tell them what honestly happened. Tell them this is where the prices need to be. And people should be checking this every week, like you said. Like, this is why you have to have people over those things. Like, hey, we got to audit these jobs. Like, how long did this job take? Or, are we hit our pricing? Are we hit our margins? Like, it has to be watched. And people are so afraid to raise prices.
Yeah, I'll give you another example. Not even a month ago, my mowing manager was telling the office that he felt like, the guys out cutting the lawns they're feeling a little like tired and like they were ready for a little bit more motivation. So I told the office, I want you to raise every single person by $10. Every mowing client, the whole list. I want every single person by $10.
How many did you lose?
3 altogether. Out of like 280, I think it is, mowing clients that we have. I don't know, maybe it's 300 something. Yeah. And we lost, 3. But they thought I was crazy. They're like, we're going to lose a bunch. Like, what is wrong with you? I'm like, I'm a savage. Let's go.
Yeah,
Let's do
I had this conversation 2 weeks ago with a mutual friend. I'm like, dude, just raise prices. He's like, I can't right now. I'm like, why not? He's like, because I can't afford to lose them. Like, you can't afford to service them either. So what's the difference?
Right. Yeah.
Pulls the trigger, almost doubles their prices and didn't lose. I think he lost one person. He's like, I'm already profitable just by doing that. He's like, thank you so much.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't be afraid to raise prices. You have to.
Yeah, and you know what I noticed too with raising prices is a lot of people will do it right in the beginning of the season, right? So you're gonna raise prices in say March when you're
and then
gonna start.
Then it's gonna give them the opportunity, right, to go find someone else.
Yeah, so now you're giving them ample opportunity to find somebody else. Your season hasn't even started. What are you doing? We will do it literally in the thick of the season. Boom, price raise.
Super smart.
And so it makes it more difficult for them to find a provider. I mean, they're already with us. So now they got to pick up the phone. They got to, it's an inconvenience, right? So that we're a fan of raising prices right away if it's low when the FERT tech or mowing tech is there. And we'll do it, like in May usually.
This is probably one of the most common questions that I see or get asked. It's always the same questions, like which truck should I wrap my truck? What should I paint? Whatever, right? This is along those lines. Should I raise prices? Like, there's no question. Absolutely raise prices every single year. You have to. And people don't buy off price. Most normal people don't buy off price. They buy off value, right?
Yeah, I mean, and especially my market, like I'm not servicing people that make 40, 30 grand a year, like they're really. They want value for their money. They want to look outside. They want to see a beautiful property. They don't want me to hire individuals that don't know what they're doing. They want great service, and that's what we're going to provide. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's a great service. It's having the insurance in case something happens, like it's a reputation. It's the vehicle they have parked in the front yard. Like they want to keep up with the Joneses.
All of our vehicles are painted, logoed up, every single one. Instantaneously, as soon as we won't even put that truck out in the field. If it ain't painted, it doesn't have our logos, it's not going out in the field. We'll get it painted, we'll get it logoed, and we'll get it out in the field. Instant, like within a week, that's our process.
That's cool. I know I had Google ads written down, and we don't need to dive super deep into like your process, but like you were in the Google LSA space early on. Like you must have just known it was coming, but you got really good at it.
Yeah. So I did. I'm just the type of person that I'm gonna learn everything there is to do about something. If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna be all in. It's just who I am. So yeah. So I heard about Google Local Services coming out in California, believe this or not. And so I'm like, man, what is Google Local Services ads? And so I figured it out. And then I actually called the number for in California, and I had asked them, when are you guys coming to Michigan? And they had gave me a time frame, right? And I said, will you put me on a list, like a waiting list of some sort? And they're like, well, we'll see what we can do. I don't know if I ever made it on that waiting list. So then the time came that they told me, and I called that same number, and I'm like, how do I get on Google Local Services? I still can't figure it out. It says I can't service the market. They're like, in 1 month, we're actually coming to, where you are. And so I'm like, all right, well, send me the link. I want to be ready. And so, yeah, it's literally I think it was the day Google Local Services ads came to my market, I was on it. I'm not kidding you. And I was getting clients for $6, leads, I should say, not clients. I think it was $5-6 at the time. And it's, to this day, I'm only paying I think it's $12.50 per lead. I mean, that's unbelievable, And so it's like we have that maxed out. We can't put any more money into it. That's how our marketing campaign works for Google Local Services ads. Completely maxed out.
Yeah. Walk us through some of the biggest pain points you've had since you've been in business for 18 years.
Biggest pain points would be, oh my God, I got a ton. I mean,
we always talk about all the good stuff, right? Like everything looks good from Instagram. Everything looks from Facebook and social media. Like everything looks so great, but at the end of the day, it's tough on everyone. So we all go through this shit. So just give some good examples.
Oh man, this is how do you know where to start? All right, so I've been sued multiple times. One particular individual was I can remember my first time actually being sued. I was still in college. I was an older gentleman. He had claimed that he stepped out of the trailer and I think it was sprained his ankle, broke his ankle, something along those lines. Next thing I know, I'm getting sued. I'm only like 20 years old, getting sued. And I remember freaking out. I'm living on my own, and I'm freaked out. I'm like, what in the world is going to happen to me? Well, I was lucky in the fact that I had insurance and I had workman's comp, and he lost the case. He got nowhere with it because it turned out he was actually already had a broken ankle or something along those lines in the past. And my insurance company found that out, and it ended up doing nothing. But that lasted almost an entire year, maybe 2 years. So another thing that happened to me was at this time I gave everybody company credit cards, and a lot of them still do, the managers. But this particular individual went to a bank, and I was dumb, and I put it so they could withdraw money from a bank. And so I didn't know any better. I didn't think anybody would ever do this. Well, this particular individual went hard at the bank. He got a couple $1,000s withdrawn on my, business account. And who knows what he did. He went on a spending spree, obviously. And then, I ended up finding out right away, because it was hit, I had the transactions coming to me at that time. And I knew instantly. So I call him up, and I'm like, "Hey, man, what happened here? Like, what is it?" He actually admitted to me on the phone what he did, and he really wanted to keep his job. That's the best part. And I'm like, "No, man, you can't keep your job. It's over. It's a done deal. Like, pack it up." And so I ended up getting my money back, but that took like over a year for fighting that with the bank. But, I had to fire him. I had to press charges.
Been there before.
Yeah. And then, other crazy things, man, like people making stuff up about me and, trying to you name it, man. I've had a guy come to an interview that we didn't hire like the next season, and he came to the interview just to tell me, fuck you. He said, I came to this interview just to tell you, fuck you. You lost out on hiring me. And I was like,
clearly not. Clearly not. Something off
I was
here.
I was like, few screws loose. I mean, you name it. I swear to God, man, I think it's happened to me. We've had, rocks shoot through windows. My first year fertilizing, actually, we grew so quickly, we had a second tech, right? But this second tech didn't have any experience. His first week, he went out and burned, I think, every single lawn he did. Let's just say 100. We ended up resodding. I got at least 50% of those lawns. We tore them all out and resodded them all because I knew my reputation was on the line. If that got out there that this happened, so that year I lost money, big money. But I knew I had to fix that because that was a big deal. And yeah, that's another story I could think of.
Yeah, I got sued last year because we had on our ad on Indeed that says you must be able to pass a background check. It had that on the ad. There's a guy from New York, never applied, just saw the ad. This is what he does for a living. He sued us because he's a criminal. Come to find out, he's actually a sex offender. Sued us. So I hired Jason Cup, consulting company, come in and, we're gonna go take this thing to court and fight it. And we're like, okay, well, how much do you want to settle out? The dude's like $500. Like, paid the $500, just done with it. But I'm like, oh, pulled the ad obviously right away. Never gonna do that again. But again, to learn the experience from myself that I can share with the podcast, like just be very careful what you're putting out there because there's people who out there are just looking to see you for $500. That one little complaint that he made him $500. That took him a minute to do online. So I just really watch your ads.
People are just absolutely crazy, man. Yeah. And then, some of the people that work for me, looking back at that, I mean, I've had threats on my household, my family, and they've had plenty of warnings to why they would be getting, let go. But, and I'd like to think it's because we provide such a good opportunity that these people are frustrated, that now they got to find another job making as much money as they did, and the culture is as good as it is.
Yeah, and not always the case, but most service companies don't pay as well. So for them to go try to find a job, and maybe they're just not as well educated than some are, there's just not a lot of opportunities for them to make that much money. So yeah, they probably would get upset,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and and I also, looking back, let's just talking about that, right? So I said that we service a small area for mowing, but truly, actually, we service a large area for mowing. We have subcontractors doing mowing for us, so we make $15 off of, I don't know, several. I don't even know the number. It's a lot. Several properties. We have subcontractors. We make $15 off of it. We actually use our actual pricing on these properties, and we have subcontractors making $15 less every property, cutting them for us. We have all their credit cards on file. We're charging them instantaneously, and we're paying the subcontractors next week Monday through a check. They through the bank account.
Yeah, that's cool. How did you find these contractors, these subs?
What's crazy, man, is they reached out to us. Like, my office, they just continuously would send me like, this person's looking for work. They're looking to talk to you. So I talk to these people, and I would tell them like, yeah, man, I got work, and if you want to do it, I'll throw some your way. Just do good work, and we'll see. So it's a lot of people just starting up. But I mean, some of these people have 30, 40 employees now. One of my subcontractors actually has, I think, like 40 employees. And so he was small when we first got together, and now he's super large.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Have you had any bad experiences with subcontractors?
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah. So I'll tell you a quick story. So I had a subcontractor. We had a sprinkler installation done. This is back when I did landscaping. I thought that was a good idea. So we did landscaping. We were doing sod on this property, and I never had an irrigation person up to this point, but I found this person on Facebook, and I had reached out to this particular individual, and they said that they knew how to do irrigation, and well, let's just say it was an epic failure. So they laid the sprinkler piping on the ground. They didn't actually bury it. And so I had to pay for another contractor to do this work, to do it correctly, because it was wrong. And I was like, you know what? Screw this. So I ended up losing a lot of money on something I should have made money on. But that's because I didn't do enough research on, who I was hiring. Yeah.
So he laid the pipe on top of the grass?
Well, there was no grass yet. It was just like, how a new home is. So he laid it on top of the clay, rocky soil, whatever it was. It was the most screwed up thing you ever seen in your life. I mean, I was like, wow, this is... And then, when we just turning it on, nothing worked. It was a bad experience.
So pretty much just ripped it out and started over.
Yeah, correct, yeah. I mean, I think they used some of the piping, from what I remember, and some of the heads, but yeah, it was a bad experience. So yeah, do your research on finding the right subcontractors. That's for
just
sure.
vetting the right people. Like, you got to do just as good job, or if not better.
Something like mowing lawns, I feel like that's kind of easy, for the most part, as long as you get reliability and, make sure they're insured, licensed with the state, whatever, actually have a business license.
How do you get them to, like, because you're on a schedule, right? How do you get them not to go do their own jobs instead of doing your jobs, like in a busy season? Do you run into that?
Yeah, well, so my office will schedule that with them.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah. So, like, for example, we do tree work, which we've never touched a saw in our life. Um, we just add 25% on to every tree job we do. We do landscape maintenance work. We don't actually do any landscape maintenance work. We just add 25% on every job that they go quote. Nobody in my company goes out and quotes things. Everything's done via, satellite. These subcontractors that are doing that type of work are going out there and telling the office, and then they're setting up a day. So yeah, currently we subcontract mowing, irrigation, snow. I mean, we do some snow.
I have snow written down. So, and people think like, okay, so they're going out there, they're quoting these jobs. So now your team doesn't have to go out there and quote them. They're bringing the quote to you, and you're adding 25% to the quote, and you're still closing the deals. What would you say your percentage of close rate is on those?
We probably right around 40%.
Yeah, which is great. So it's still 25%. You're not doing any of the work, and you're still closing at 40%, which is excellent.
Yeah. I mean, I have some very money motivated people in the office too.
Yeah.
So they're good at selling. I mean, they really are. They want to convince the person to sign up.
And just so everyone knows, you're on break at work right now, so we're at a tight schedule. But let's talk about snow real quick, because you said that you try not to lay your guys off the winter. You had some really cool idea, and I don't know if you ended up doing it last year, year before, where you said like you had some friends in the industry who have big snow companies that you could just slide your employees over there if they wanted to go work there.
Yeah, so the biggest properties we do is actually all of the Taco Bells in Wayne County. We do every single one of them. I think there's like 50 some just in my little area. And so the contractor that has the Taco Bells, he also needs to do the snow for the Taco Bells, right? And so yeah, my guys will go work for him. Whatever's needed. Really, yeah, we have another contractor that is big into commercial snow. They will go work for them, yes, occasionally. But we do some snow removal. I like to think I have one of the best properties in my entire area.
For sure.
Yeah, it's a zero tolerance, 24/7 operation, 70 acres, and it's a big money producer for me. And so we make sure that is done, but we also don't rely on that, right? So our whole company, if that went away tomorrow, I love that property, but we don't. If it went away tomorrow, it is what it is. That's the way I look at that.
For sure. What's the future look like for Elegant Greens? I know you have a bright future ahead of you. I know you have a big vision. So what's that look like in the next 5 years?
In the next 5 years, I'd like to hit 10 million here, where I'm at. And then, I would like the problem of, I guess, the problem of, the problem of growing even past 10 million. That would be the problem I'd like to have, I mean, our leads are coming in. It's October, mid-October. We're still getting lots and lots of leads. So I feel like, the day that starts to slow down or we've serviced most of our area, then, I'd like to have that problem. Like, what do I do next? So that's where I'd like to see my company in 3 to 5 years, 10 million.
Love it. What are you most proud of?
Oh man, my wife, she knows I'm a quick start. And so she's fully supported me from day one, man. That's my rock right there. She is the love of my life. If she was to leave me now, that would be something else. But right there, my wife, my kids, that's what I do all this for, right? If I didn't have them, life would be nothing, honestly. Like they're so important to me. Yeah. But my wife, man, I've done some crazy stuff. I once got I think it was like a $200,000 credit card, for my business. And I said, I'm going to spend every single dollar on marketing. And she was like, go for it. So I was like, all right, let's do it. I mean, but I don't know if that was the good mistake or not, because the phone rang so much that my office was like, this is out of control. Like, we cannot we cannot handle this much, volume of phone calls. And I was like, yeah, I guess you're right. Unless you want to hire 10 more people. But, so she's just fully on board, and I couldn't be more appreciative of her, Like, she's never said to me, no, you know what I mean? Like, I have these crazy, crazy dreams, and she's always, like, right there with me. Yeah.
That's awesome. She even supports your crazy 4th of July parties.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so we do. We have this big monster 4th of July party. I like to spend...
It's like the city's fireworks.
Yes. Yeah, I spent a lot of money on the fireworks. Yeah. So
You
that's a
sending
big
me all
thing
these
of mine.
pictures. I'm like, dang. You fly people in, don't you?
Yeah, yeah. People come from all over the country. So my friends from out of state come for it. Yeah, they come. They bring their kids. I mean, it's a big deal. I like to go all out, and it's something that I want my kids to remember my 4th of July parties for some reason. Like that, it's a big holiday to me.
Love that. And then the last question, I'll let you run. If you could give one piece of advice to the listeners, whether it's business or personal, that has really transformed your career, what would that be?
Mm-hmm. Man, have high pricing, honestly. Be the higher pricing person in the market, and hire the right people. I mean, that's another thing too. I remember the first guy that walked into my thing, I knew he was the right hire is because he had told me all about the mower that we had. I don't know anything about mowers. I have no idea. He was telling me the hours that it needed to be changed. He's like, every, I don't know, 100 hours this mower needs to be changed. I never even opened the manual. I have no idea. So yeah, hire the right people. Get rid of them fast if they're not the right fit. Go on percentage base pay as soon as possible, because I mean that you'll get rid of the wrong people, right away. And go hard, go fast. I took too long to get I guess motivated to grow the company. I mean, I'm talking, we had a couple years where we kind of just stuck at 1 million. We were at 1,200,000, 1,300,000, and we just kind of stuck there, and I got complacent. Push hard. I mean, if this is your dream, go for it.
Absolutely, all in. So I told you that I was going to press the bomb button. But I don't know which the bomb button is. So we're going to have to test this. So we might get a cat. I'm not sure what we're going to get. We're just going to go through them, but I promise you the bomb, right?
All right.
Got the bomb button.
That's the way to end it, baby.
That is. I knew this was going to be fun. It went by super fast.
It did, yeah, man.
We've been trying to get this on for like 6 months. Again, I appreciate you being here. It's been fun. Enjoy your friendship. I appreciate you more than you'll ever know. And again, just thanks for spending the time with us.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. Thanks for having me. It's been an honor, and we'll talk soon. I'd like to be back in maybe a year to talk about the growth.
Let's do it. From today's date, we'll have it on the schedule.